Breaking tonight, new fallout from what looks like a serious health scare for Hillary Clinton, as both she and her husband do new interviews in an effort to convince America that she is healthy enough to possibly serve as our next president. Welcome to the Kelly File, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. At this hour, Hillary Clinton was supposed to be attending a fundraiser in California. Instead, she's at her home in Chappaqua, New York, unable to travel due to illness, and having to resort to a telephone interview in the last hour to knock down questions about her condition. You may recall her campaign had insisted for days that her series of campaign trail coughing fits were nothing more than seasonal allergies. That was until she attended the 9/11 memorial yesterday, and a now viral video showed her collapsing as she left. At first, the campaign kept the press in the dark about her condition. Then they said she was simply overheated. That was all, only to finally reveal hours later that she had actually been diagnosed with pneumonia days earlier. We'll discuss it all with Chris Stirewalt, Howie Kurtz, and Dr. Mark Siegel in a moment, but we begin tonight with Trace Gallagher reporting from our West Coast newsroom. Trace?
Megyn, Hillary Clinton now claims she thought her cough really was allergies until she got diagnosed with pneumonia on Friday morning. She never explained tonight on CNN why she didn't disclose her illness to reporters on Friday night. And even on Sunday, after leaving a 9/11 event early, collapsing, and having to be dragged into a van by Secret Service, the campaign said Mrs. Clinton was just overheated. It took several more hours after the video went viral before the campaign finally released a statement from Clinton's doctor revealing she had been diagnosed with pneumonia and was dehydrated. At that point, even a top Democrat took a swipe at the veil of secrecy surrounding Secretary Clinton, apparently lumping everything from emails to illness. Former Obama senior advisor David Axelrod tweeted, quoting, "Antibiotics can take care of pneumonia. What's the cure for an unhealthy penchant for privacy that repeatedly creates unnecessary problems?" The Clinton campaign has since acknowledged mishandling information about the illness and claims to be working with her doctor on a full release of medical records that will show Mrs. Clinton has, quote, "no other undisclosed condition." Mrs. Clinton was not asked tonight about a report in our cousin publication, the New York Post, saying that after she collapsed on Sunday, she opted out of going to the emergency room and instead ditched her New York police escort and went to her daughter Chelsea's apartment. The Post says the move was to keep details of her medical treatment under wraps. The Clinton campaign has dismissed that. Mrs. Clinton walked out of her daughter's apartment, as you see, an hour later, saying she felt great. But tonight, former President Clinton told Charlie Rose this apparently has happened before. Watch.
Well, if it is, it's a mystery to me and all of her doctors. Rarely, but on more than one occasion over the last many, many years, the same sort of things happened to her when she just got severely dehydrated.
Tonight, Hillary Clinton says it's only happened twice that she can recall. Clinton says she plans to take a few more days off the trail. Her husband will pinch hit for her in the meantime. Megyn.
Trace, thank you. Again, both Mr. and Mrs. Clinton spoke about this in just the last couple of hours. You just heard some of that. We have more. But first, we want to bring in Chris Stirewalt, our Fox News digital politics editor, Howie Kurtz, host of Media Buzz on Fox News, and Dr. Mark Siegel, a Fox News medical correspondent and NYU professor of medicine. Great to see you all. All right, so first of all, the question of whether it's happened before or whether this is an isolated incident. She was asked about that moments ago. Here is how she described her own history with what we saw on video yesterday. Watch.
How often has this happened?
Oh, I think really only twice that I can recall. You know, it is something that has occurred a few times over the course of my life, and, you know, I'm aware of it.
I don't know. You tell me, Stirewalt, whether that had the ring of truth.
Man, there is a reason Clintonian is an adjective, and this is some Clintonian business that's going down here. Bill Clinton says, rarely, it's so legalistic, rarely, but on more than one occasion over many, many years, so that it's open enough so that it covers all of the bases. The bases are covered, counselor. there's wiggle room at the end. So you say, oh, I guess I forgot about that other time I passed out. I forgot about the other time I collapsed. So the Clintons are Clintoning in full Clinton fashion tonight.
Right. It just raises more questions. It's like, if I ask you, seriously, to the viewers sitting at home, if I say to you, how many times have you fainted in the past 10 years? Would you have to be like, well, it's like, none. I have never fainted in the past 10 years. I have it at the ready. I mean, you tell me whether she answered more questions or created more, Howie.
Well, really created more based on the fact that it's now the #1 story in the campaign. You know, Megyn, I was anchoring yesterday when the news broke, and what was stunning was not that she has pneumonia. Lots of people get pneumonia, but the realization that Hillary Clinton and her campaign spent days blatantly misleading the press and the public about her health. Now, imagine an alternative universe where on Friday, before the shaky 9/11 video and all that, she'd put out a statement. You know, I've got pneumonia. I'm going to take it easy a few days. It's a grueling campaign out there. People would have felt sympathy for her. Instead, this mishandling is causing more damage than a mere infection.
I can defend her on that. I think, okay, you know, you're running for president, you have a grueling schedule, you're tough, you get a diagnosis of pneumonia. Obviously, it wasn't, you know, a catastrophic diagnosis because she did do a lot on Friday. And you think, I don't need to disclose. There's a lot of people get pneumonia. Why do I have to run into, it's not like I got a cancer diagnosis, right? But when she collapsed and tried to get the press pool away from her, Steyerwalt, and then they tried to give us a bunch of baloney that she was just overheated, which was not true. That's when people said, there's more here.
And if you are a person who is about 2/3 or close to 2/3 of the American electorate says is not honest and trustworthy, if you are that person and you're also a person with a history of health problems, including some serious ones, what is the dadgum only thing that you should never make sure that you ever do? Lie about your health. Don't do it. Big mistake.
Although her doctor says she is in excellent health, her doctor says this is pneumonia, and that she said tonight she needs to rest for 5 days and she's going to go back out there. Dr. Siegel, can I ask you about something else in this video? I'm not going to ask you to diagnose Hillary Clinton over the airwaves. I know you can't and you won't. But she did say tonight that she never lost consciousness. And I have to tell you, I'm not a medical professional, but that just doesn't look like it could be real based on this video. I mean, this doesn't look like dizziness. This looks like she went down, like she did lose consciousness. But what are your thoughts?
Well, number one, Megyn, it is a video, but you're picking up something there, which is there seems to be a loss of muscle tone, and that happens when you're in the process of blacking out. All of these questions are raising more questions. We need to know. You know, she fell and hit her head back in 2012. After that, I'd like to see the neurological records. I would want to see the MRIs. The less information we have, the more we're going to be prone to speculating. Howie knows how that works in the media. If we don't have the facts, we speculate. We cannot make a diagnosis here, and no doctor should. But we've seen enough. By the way, pneumonia, Megyn, I don't think it's such a minor thing. You know, you give it a diagnosis. If I diagnose somebody with pneumonia on a Friday, and pneumonia is usually a diagnosis made by a chest X-ray. You see a blotch there. An elderly person, if they had a fever, you know, Bill Clinton says she's dehydrated. Well, wait a minute. People don't walk around dehydrated. So if you get dehydrated enough from an infection to the point where you may black out or you have a fever, why would she be going to a memorial service? This is all questions.
Well, I have another question for you on that, Dr. Siegel. If she has pneumonia, I know you can get either viral or bacterial, right? But in either one, should you be at a crowded memorial event? Should you be shaking hands with a bunch of people? Should you be hugging a little girl? Should you be going to visit your daughter with her 2 babies?
Absolutely not. And by the way, you can't always tell the difference between viral and bacterial pneumonia. That's probably why Dr. Bardak put her on antibiotics. If she's coughing, if she had something on an X-ray, if she had a fever, she'd give her antibiotics just to make sure.
No one's trying to condemn her for being irresponsible, right, with the shaking of the hands. The question is whether we're being given the straight truth about what she's actually ailing from. Wait, I want to get this soundbite in about the transparency. This is how she's trying to spin it now to put it back on Trump. Can you listen? Watch.
Donald Trump's doctor said he'd be the healthiest president in history. That's just not even serious. And I've released nearly 40 years of tax returns. He hasn't released one. This is a man with unknown numbers of partners and investors who says he's doing 120 foreign deals. The American people deserve to know what he's up to and what he is hiding. So if we weren't fast enough, you know, I've talked to my staff. We take responsibility for that. But the information is out there. You can't say the same thing about Donald Trump.
Howie?
You know, this carries uncomfortable echoes of the email scandal where information had to be dragged out over a period of months. And when a politician is cornered, they try to deflect. So rather than talk more about her own health problems and the fact that, you know, that the campaign was not straight, even on the day that it happened, ditching the press pool, she goes to Donald Trump's tax records. Now, Donald Trump should release his tax records. That's a separate issue. Even Hillary Clinton's liberal allies are having trouble defending her on this one.
As we saw in that Axelrod tweet. Great to see you all. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Megan.
You bet.
Also breaking tonight, a late-day hearing on Clinton emails explodes into angry exchanges.
What information do you believe that Congress does not have the right to see?
Judge Andrew Napolitano and Larry Sabato are next on a Clinton campaign taking fire from all sides. And what would happen if she had to drop out of this race over health? Wait until you hear how that works next. Plus, Governor Chris Christie joins us to answer new charges that millions of Trump supporters are nothing more than a bunch of racist, sexist homophobes.